Hey Taurus, welcome to your yearly 2019 Sidereal Astrology forecast. All right, so this year, two key areas of emphasis for you. One's going to be on your 7th house of relationships, where you're going to have Jupiter. Jupiter is all about expanding our worldview. So a lot of you will be learning a lot about the dynamics of relationships, maybe opportunities in this area, and just having a bit of a new perspective about the area can perhaps bring in a bit of this maybe inspiration or opportunity in that sector. So along with this, the 8th house is going to be emphasized. You've got Saturn, Pluto in the south node here. The eclipses will be associated with it. The 8th house has to do with everything that's deeper in life. So a lot of you are doing a lot of work with the deeper dimensions, really again building things in terms of what matters most, and taking things seriously that have to do with shared resources and things on that level. So there'll be a lot of releasing taking place here, a lot of patterns that are going to be broken as well involving this sector with the eclipses. All right, and then we also do have Uranus going into Aries, so there is this emphasis on your 12th house of finding the freedom that comes from your beingness. Some of you might start some new and different spiritual activities, some of you through your creative side, whatever it is, maybe something new and different, invoking a bit of that peace, but also the freedom that that peace and beingness does provide. All right, so let's take a look at all of this in more detail when we return. All right, Taurus, so here's your chart for 2019. We are going to look at this throughout the year here, just looking at the outer planets, just to get a snapshot of the big picture theme of the year. Of course, if you do want a more specific look at where the fast movers are going to be, I do make daily forecasts, and I do cover the new and full moons. And then I talk about the signs during the new and full moon. So do check those out for, month by month, week by week. Sort of perspective. But looking at this from the general side of things, we're going to be looking at these outer planets. Now, you will notice that the signs here are different from mainstream astrology. We are using the actual size of the constellations here. So this does change the signs from mainstream astrology. If you are new, definitely check out that link down below for more information on true sidereal. And you do want to make sure you're watching this video for your sidereal sign. So in your sidereal chart, that you have either your sun, moon, or ascendant in Taurus. All right, so let's go ahead and start with January, because there's a lot going on in January, and it definitely sets the sort of mood for the rest of the year because a lot of the aspects and the eclipses are all starting at that time. So looking first at the eclipses, we're going to have a solar eclipse on January 5th involving this 8th house of yours in Sagittarius. So kicking off the year, there's going to likely be some releasing here. Maybe again, some patterns, some things, some cycles you're breaking, really becoming aware of what truly matters most in life. And maybe even some things involving situations holding you back, or shared resource situations, or debts or loans, or things like this, that is anything that you feel like is maybe imbalanced regarding interdependency, relying on others, and just in the deeper dimensions in general. So there's going to be a releasing here. Great time to set some intentions right at the beginning of the year, January 5th, involving what will be a lot of work here done, so you can connect to what matters in life, break some cycles, and really free yourself there in the process. The 8th house is all about that freedom, that transformation, that empowerment that arises from breaking patterns and fundamentally just reconnecting with our deeper selves, right? And with Saturn here, great time to be doing the work, like shadow work, right? Facing your fears, your wounds, your traumas, doing psychological work, for example, really good here. And with Pluto, facing fears about maybe death, or endings, or deeper things that, again, diving deep with can really help this transformation process. So there's going to be a lot of this releasing, a lot of this constructive approach to the 8th house here. All right, so that'll be a release there January 5th, and January 21st, we then do have the lunar eclipse, which will be in Cancer, which is your 3rd house. Now, this is an emphasis that's been going on through all of 2018, and this is about really getting into the practical side of life. So if you felt that most of 2018 was good for like learning, maybe communication, maybe sharing and exchanging with others, anything that's about give and take, sharing, exchanging, and practical things, practical knowledge, maybe even business and trade, reading, writing, other examples. This is all finalizing here at the sort of April time, really, but in many ways, since this is going to be the last eclipse with it, January 21st. Some culminations, some finalizations with this area. A lot of you maybe even gaining some awareness about the about the importance of this communication, communication life, and about learning practical things and getting into that tangible stuff. All right, so that is the eclipses, but again, January does start the two aspects that we have throughout the year. But actually, before we look at those, let's take a look at the rest of the eclipses throughout the year. I think that's going to keep things a lot simpler for this reading. So let's take a look at July, which is when we have the next set of eclipses. Now, July is going to then be the solar eclipse with where the North Node is going to transition into, which is your second house. What you're probably going to notice maybe around the April time as you approach the summer is that there is this new shift going into really establishing your self-reliance. And it's going to be great through all, April onward and even into 2020 a bit, of establishing more of your self-reliance, your inner strength, your personal strength, inner resources, taking things slowly and steadily, building things like your finances, your material security, exploring more of your natural gifts and natural abilities. And this solar eclipse in July 2nd, is going to help you do this. So a new beginning here with this, great time to set some new intentions with anything that does involve your self-reliant side or your inner and outer resources in life. All right, and then the lunar eclipse in July is going to be in that 8th house. So if there was anything you started earlier in the year involving these, again, releasing of deeper things or cycles, whatever it was here, there is going to be, on some level, a culmination of this. And again, in this case, some awareness about it. In fact, a lot of you will be releasing again, but it'll be in such a way that's this transition from this awareness. So July, great time to do this status check. How is your deeper life? How is your interdependent life? What are your deeper values, right? All this kind of stuff. How's your psychological health? How's your work going with your psychological growth and spiritual growth and facing of fears and all this deep stuff? And you'll likely come to some awareness of this, and that awareness is going to help you then maybe do something else that's going to release some patterns here. All right, so also asking yourself, are there any patterns you have that maybe are involving interdependency or wanting the deeper stuff in life? Any patterns involving the deeper stuff in life in any way? Just being aware of that and conscious of that, and that's going to help this transition process as you then go through the rest of the year of, again, creating more freedom in your life from some of this inner awareness that you're going to have. All right, and then we actually do have sort of 3 eclipse seasons here in 2019, because right at the very end of the year, we do start the eclipse season. So this will be a solar eclipse in that 8th house. So in this case, in December, there's probably going to be some new beginnings where it's the final releasing, final transformation. Jupiter's going to come into the 8th house in November, right before that. So it's going to give you this kind of more broadened perspective and even opportunities involving some of these deeper things, involving even shared resources and such. And so with this solar eclipse conjunct Jupiter, there could be some new beginnings here, right? A fresh new you, phoenix out of the ashes, incorporating these deeper aspects of yourself, feeling more free, feeling more empowered, more integrated, more accepting of your fears. You would have done a lot of work here regarding this stuff. All right, so the end of the year certainly has that kind of newness about it, as that'll be the last south node solar eclipse of that 8th house. All right, so those are the eclipses, definitely involving that sector. And again, do keep in mind, the north node in the second all year is that it's really the key to balancing a lot of this deeper stuff is going to be like connecting with that resourcefulness, right? So connecting to your material life, also connecting to nature, connecting to simple life, material security, all of this stuff, your material values, really help balance out the more deeper values and deeper things in life. All right, so let's take a look now back to January, looking at these aspects that we have starting off the year. And so these are going to both be involving Neptune. We're going to have Jupiter squaring Neptune and Saturn sextiling Neptune. And so this is placing a lot of emphasis on either your career sector or your public sector, or both. And there's probably been a lot of maybe uncertainty, maybe etheric energy involving this area for you. It's been some time, maybe about the past 10 years. And so now with this energy coming into it, I think first of all with Jupiter, a lot of this expansion that's going to be taking place with your relationship sector, again, likely learning a lot of, about this area and building relationships, that can be very constructive for your career and your productive life. But you'll likely have to set the intention to do so, more than likely. And that's what the square energy is about. Because Jupiter and Neptune by themselves, we may just get a bit dreamy and idealistic. You might be dreaming and idealistic about the career, maybe about relationships, but it doesn't really become constructive until we set that intention to really ground it. And so using this year, January onward, in this way, set this intention here to incorporate relationships with your productive life. It's an excellent, excellent way of working with this square. Now the Saturn side to it is the harmonious. I think they're both easy aspects because it's Jupiter, but there's this synergy between all of this deeper work that you're doing and that career, productive life. All right, so you'll probably notice a bit of maybe workflow, constructive flow. As you do this inner work, deeper work, that's going to be directly kind of giving you the sense of willingness to go with the flow and trust and have faith when it comes to career, work, productive life, public life, things of this nature with that sextile. All right, so and then also maybe even shared resources also supporting it. Sometimes, loans or business loans or things like that also in supportive aspect to the career sector. But again, this is the area you're taking seriously. So all year, it's really good to take the responsible approach to loans, to money we're borrowing, to debts, things like this. Take the more grounded long-term perspective on that with Saturn. All right, so that is the most important stuff, along with Uranus in April is going to go into your 12th house. So a lot of you will be finalizing what I think has been about the past 10 years of maybe meeting, maybe having, really finding your place when it comes to maybe your community, or doing different things involving your aspirations and your future ideals being quite exciting and different and kind of up and down and all this kind of thing. So that's all finalizing in April. Some completion, some finalization with these ideals, bringing some freedom into your life. Where Uranus is going to go is in your 12th. So April onward and for about the next 5 years, it's going to be a great time for really finding that true self of yours through your spiritual beingness. All right, so maybe through your alone time, spiritual activities, meditations, rest, working behind the scenes. All of this can be a great source of freedom, great source of excitement. Some of you learning new and different ways of meditating or spiritual stuff, or learning more about psychology in a technological, innovative way. All this kind of like innovative stuff with the more etheric realms. And some of you even doing new things with creativity as well. All of this can be very exciting for you. So you'll probably notice that shift April onward. All right, so Taurus, that is the yearly forecast from a general sense. I hope this is helpful. Have a fantastic 2019. Now, there is a link down below in the comment section for a 20% discount if you do want a personal reading, a yearly reading for you personally. And there's also a link on the page I'll put as well. All right, so do check that out. But Taurus, have a great one. Thank you again for all of your support. And I will see you all next time for the daily forecast. Take care.